The Dallas Cowboys are arguably the most hated team in professional sports, and being one of the league's most valuable and most successful franchises definitely plays a part in that. They're in the same category of historic organizations like the Yankees or Lakers. You're either with them or against them. You have a feeling of joy seeing these franchises collapse on the biggest stage, because you know if they win, their fan bases will not let you hear the end of it. But there's one more thing that makes the Cowboys so hated that not even the Yankees or Lakers have, and that is the nickname America's Team. This nickname was given to the franchise by announcer Pat Summerall in 1979, and since then the fan base has run with it. But as time has gone on, it has become more self-proclaimed, as the Cowboys have gone from one of the most respected franchises in the NFL to one of the biggest jokes. Since their last Super Bowl win in 1996, this franchise has done a complete 180 in the playoffs, leaving their fans with nothing but heartbreak year after year. In this video, we're going to take a deeper look into that heartbreak and break down every Dallas Cowboys playoff choke since 1996. Before I get into it, welcome to the War Room. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight to it. Keep in mind, we're going to be covering every playoff choke, not every playoff elimination, starting with the 1998 wildcard game. This was back when the NFC East had 5 teams in the division, yet the Cowboys still won the division that year at 10-6, and in the wildcard round, they faced the team who finished second in the division, the 9-7 Arizona Cardinals. Yes, Arizona, the state notoriously known for being in the East. Anyways, the Cowboys were 7-point favorites in this matchup, and it's easy to understand why. They had a better record, they beat Arizona twice in the regular season, they had home field advantage, and the Cardinals' offense, which ranked around league average, paired with a defense well below league average, matched up against a Cowboys team that was top 10 in both. But none of that meant anything in this matchup. Dallas's offense, led by Hall of Famers Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith, were shut out by this Cardinals defense through 3 quarters. They outscored Arizona 7-3 in the fourth, but by then it was too little too late. Jake Plummer outplayed Aikman, Adrian Morrell outplayed Emmitt Smith, and these 7-point underdogs sent Dallas fans home stunned. The next playoff choke came about 8 years later, in the wildcard game against the Seattle Seahawks. Both teams were 9-7 heading into this matchup, with the game being played in Seattle and the Seahawks favored by just 2 points. It was a back and forth game the entire way. Dallas had a 20-13 lead halfway through the fourth quarter before a safety made it 20-15. Then Seattle took a 1-point lead with a touchdown the following drive. All of this was the perfect storm for one of the most infamous endings to a playoff game in Cowboys history. Dallas drove down the entire field and set up for a 19-yard field goal to take the lead with about a minute 19 seconds remaining, a chip shot that would skyrocket their chances at winning this game and send them to the divisional round. However, quarterback Tony Romo, who for some reason also had the role as the holder for kicks, botched the snap. He bobbled the ball, tried to make a run for it, and was tackled 2 yards short of the end zone, 1 yard short of the first down marker, and because this was on 4th down, the game was essentially over and the Seahawks won by 1 point. Although Romo went on to have a very solid career, a lot of fans defined him by this moment. This moment also signified a new era of Cowboys football, where heartbreaking playoff endings like this one became way too common. The next playoff choke following this came just a year later in the divisional round. At 13-3, the Cowboys were tied for the second best record in the NFL. Similar to 1998, they were set to face a division rival at home, who they beat twice during the regular season, except this time it was the 11-6 New York Giants, while once again the Cowboys were 7-point favorites. A New York touchdown early in the fourth quarter gave the Giants a 21-17 lead. Fast forward to the final minute of the fourth quarter, and the Cowboys had the ball just outside the Giants' red zone trying to take a lead in the final minute, but an incomplete pass on 2nd down, incomplete pass on 3rd down, and an interception thrown by Tony Romo in the end zone on 4th down put the nail in the coffin of this potential game-winning drive, giving the Giants the upset victory. 2 years later, in 2009, fans witnessed another brutal loss in the divisional round, but unlike every other game so far, this one was an absolute blowout. They were set to face the 12-4 Vikings in Minnesota against one of the league's best offenses led by Brett Favre, but to counter this, Dallas had one of the best defenses in the NFL. In the regular season, there were only 2 games the team let up more than 30 points, both of which happened to be against the Giants. However, other than those 2 games, this Cowboy D held everyone else to 21 points or under. So this matchup against the Vikings should have been a good game, and Vegas thought so too, as Minnesota was favored by just 2.5 points. But in this matchup, Dallas's defense folded. They let up a season-high 34 points, which included 4 touchdowns from Brett Favre, while scoring just 3 points on offense, making this the 3rd time in 4 years they had an embarrassing finish to their season. The Cowboys didn't make the playoffs for another 5 years following this loss, and when they returned to the postseason in 2014, the heartbreak resumed. They were tied for the best record in the league that season at 12-4, again giving their fans hope they could make a run at another Super Bowl. Following a wildcard win over the Lions, the Cowboys headed to Lambeau to take on the 12-4 Packers. This was an absolute classic playoff matchup, and every football fan remembers exactly what happened. Because again, for the second time in an 8-year span, the Dallas Cowboys were on the wrong side of one of the most infamous finishes in sports history. This battle with Green Bay was phenomenal, and it was a one-possession game the whole way through. With just over 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Packers took the lead on this Aaron Rodgers pass. Fast forward some time, and again, Tony Romo found himself trying to take the lead late in the game. On fourth down with about 4:30 left, he threw this deep pass to star wide receiver Dez Bryant. He made an incredible catch and was marked down at the 1-yard line, but Packers head coach Mike McCarthy challenged the call of a catch. After a long review, the referees ruled that Bryant did not maintain possession of ball throughout the process, and it was ruled incomplete, giving Green Bay the ball. This sparked outrage amongst the Cowboys fan base, and even fans who hate Dallas admitted that this should have been ruled a catch. The Packers drained the clock the following possession and advanced to the NFC Championship. This matchup, now known today as the Dez Caught It game, will forever live in Cowboys infamy. 2 years later, in 2016, they had a chance at revenge. This time, they were hosting the Packers in the divisional round and were 5.5-point favorites. Green Bay actually had the lead for most of this game, but with 35 seconds left, Dan Bailey kicked a clutch 52-yard field goal to tie it up. The game appeared to be headed to overtime, but again, this is a choke video. With 12 seconds left in regulation and nowhere near field goal range, Aaron Rodgers escaped the pocket and fired this pass downfield to Jared Cook. Everyone in the stadium assumed this pass was incomplete at first glance, but the replay showed he did in fact catch the ball with 2 feet in bounds. This put Green Bay in field goal range with 3 seconds remaining. Then Mason Crosby kicked a game-winning 51-yard field goal as time expired, ending the Cowboys season. And this is the exact moment where the torch of the Cowboys choking in the playoffs was passed from Tony Romo to the rookie Dak Prescott, who started this game. Fast forward to 2021, where again, the team found themselves in a home playoff game they were favored to win, this time against the San Francisco 49ers. Dallas did not lead a single second of this game. However, in the final minute, down 23-17, their offense had a chance to take the lead on the final drive. And if you've been paying attention to the pattern of this video, you would know that, spoiler alert, the offense did not score. At the 40-yard line with 14 seconds left and no timeouts remaining, Dak Prescott decided to run the ball straight up the middle of the field. He picked up about 15 yards, but the clock was ticking with under 10 seconds left. At around the 4-second mark, it looked like they were set up to spike the ball and have one final shot at the end zone. However, by rule, the referee must spot the ball following each play. The center can't just pick the spot on the field he wants to spike it from. At the 2-second mark, a ref comes flying in and resets the spot of the ball to where it should have been, but this maneuver ran off the final remaining seconds, costing the Cowboys a potential victory. By the time they spiked the ball, no time was left on the clock, and the 49ers advanced to the next round. The Cowboys essentially cost themselves a chance at advancing to the next round because they didn't know they had to give the ball to the ref after the play was over. And finally, that brings us to 2024, where last week the Dallas Cowboys added another chapter in their choking reputation. This Dallas team, once again tied for the league's second best record, entered the playoffs with the highest scoring offense and a top 5 defense in the NFL. They were hosting the 9-8 Green Bay Packers, who made the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. Dallas was yet again favored to win by 7 points, and the Packers made an absolute mockery of them. With under 2 minutes left in the first half, Dak Prescott threw a pick-6, giving Green Bay a 27-0 lead. While the Cowboys played better in the second half, they dug themselves in a hole they couldn't climb out of. The Packers won this game 48-32, their highest scoring game this season. Since the Dallas Cowboys' last Super Bowl win in 1996, they have been an absolute disgrace in the playoffs. Every few years, they dominate in the regular season and convince fans that this is going to be the year they prove all the haters wrong and win Super Bowl number 6. And just when you start to believe it, when you think to yourself, yeah, they've choked in past years, but there's no way they lose this game, they not only find a way to lose, but embarrass themselves. This phrase of being America's team is exactly that, a phrase. It's been so long since any meaningful playoff victory that the entire reputation of this franchise has permanently changed for the worse. This Cowboy loss now makes it 28 years since they last made it to the NFC Championship game. But as the old saying goes, when the Cowboys lose, America wins. What is your personal favorite choke from the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.